Scandalous whispers from Spain and a storm of hearts online. Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir caught in tender set moments, and the internet can't look away. A new project, a new look, and a wave of speculation that refuses to calm down. You're watching Turkish series stars. Before we dive into the frenzy, hit subscribe and support the channel so you never miss a beat in this wild ride of showbiz twists and turns. Fans of Can Yaman, brace yourselves. The adventure that began with the roaring success of Sandokan on Rai 1 has swerved into a darker, more emotional lane with Butterfly Labyrinth, a Spanish series already making noise across Europe. The first frames from the set arrived like a spark in dry grass, and within minutes timelines were ablaze. What's behind these intriguing images? What do they reveal about Can's dramatic transformation? And where does Demet Özdemir fit into this labyrinth of romance, betrayal, and breathless suspense? Let's break it all down. /N fresh from Sandokan, where he carried the swagger of a legendary hero, Can Yaman has turned the page to something sharper, lonelier, and more vulnerable. Early set photos, shared on his Instagram and spread faster than a rumor in a crowded cafe, show him stripped of pirate bravado and dressed in the modern edge of his new role. Short hair, a restrained beard, a black sweatshirt paired with dark sweatpants. The style is deliberately unadorned, the look designed to let the man's eyes do all the speaking. In those candid shots you can read the work, the training that's quiet rather than loud, the choice to strip away effect and let character bleed through small gestures. Fans praised the authenticity in the comments, calling out the unpolished intensity of someone who's ready to be seen rather than just looked at /N. But it wasn't just the new styling that turned heads. The real tremor came from the companion presence in several images and eyewitness posts, Demet Özdemir. Her appearance around the set, and, yes, in a few soft, unguarded moments with Can, ignited a wave of questions that no press release could smother. Were they rehearsing an intimate scene? Was Demet stepping into the production in a surprise role? Was this a visit driven by personal support, or a professional rendezvous planned in secret? The photos didn't shout, they whispered. A hand on an arm. A half-smile shared in the kind of silence that says more than noise. Nothing scandalous in itself, just enough warmth to tilt the internet into high gear. /N for Can. Butterfly Labyrinth is a leap into dramatic territory that favors scars over swords. The story centers on a covert operative fighting to clear his name after a betrayal that tears through both his mission and his private life. The action is there, sure, but it's framed by moral dilemmas, psychological tension, and a romance that refuses to behave. The character is written less as a fighter and more as a man who fights, one who hides in plain sight while every choice exacts a cost. And this is where Demet's presence becomes magnetizing. Whether she's on camera as a crucial piece of the puzzle or behind the scenes as an anchor in the confusion, her connection to Can in these early days has become part of the story fans are now determined to decode. /N behind the camera. The names speak to ambition. Produced by Sequoia Studios and guided by directors Alberto Ruiz Rojo and Inaki Penafai, the series recruits a forceful ensemble. Maria Donati, Andrea Duro, Felix Gomez, Noah Rollin, Michelle Calvo, Leander Vivi, Paco Tu, Marta Solas, Victor Clavijo, Antonio Gil, and Jorge Saquet. Scripts penned by Angela Oban and Daniel Corpus set the stage for layered emotions and twisted loyalties, while Eduardo Galdo and Lele Portas steer production with assured hands. This is the kind of lineup that doesn't merely look impressive on paper, it promises a show that breathes like life and hurts like truth. And into that volatile mix, fans are now placing Demet, whether as co-lead, surprise cameo, or the secret ingredient nobody saw coming. Her gravitational effect on Can is already a headline by itself. /N and the first images didn't try to sell glamour. They sold intimacy with craft. In one sequence, Can rests between takes, gaze locked on something off-camera. In another, Demet is nearby, a hoodie framing her face as she tilts in to listen. It could be a scene rehearsal. It could be two professionals quietly calibrating new characters. It could be two people with history and chemistry finding a lower frequency that only the two of them can hear. Whatever it was enough to lift hashtags and flood comments with declarations, hopes, and questions from Turkey to Italy and beyond. He looks even more powerful when he's understated. She steadies him. If Butterfly Labyrinth ties them together on screen, it's over, Europe will melt. /N/N. The noise around them isn't new. After Sandokan, Can's fanbase stretched even wider, particularly in Italy, where his face has become both familiar and cherished. Now, the expectation is not just for a good series, but for a performance that redefines him. And as for Demet? She brings her own following, her own momentum, her own aesthetic of aching honesty. Put the two together and the result is combustible. Viewership that crosses languages, a media narrative that writes itself, and a love-hate affair with fame that both of them know too well /N/N. Of course, the moment Can set foot on the Butterfly Labyrinth set, the rumor mill began to churn. Posts claiming that the chapter between Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir had either firmly closed or mysteriously reopened flashed across timelines with the velocity of a confession. The truth, predictably, remained unspoken by both. What did speak was their focus. On the soundstage, Can's attention is laser-cut. In pre-dawn call times, Demet's poise is untouched by noise. The work is what they give the public, what's privately theirs stays guarded, wrapped with the professionalism they've both earned the hard way. And yet, the very restraint is what keeps the audience hungry. /N/N. Butterfly Labyrinth does not play fair with easy emotions. It coils together yearning and treachery, then forces its characters to choose under pressure. Can's agent navigates a maze of false leads and sharper truths, racing time while wrestling with unanswered needs. Demet's presence, whether as an ally with secrets or a mirror of the past that refuses to fade, adds a different pulse. The script digs into motivation rather than neat morality. Betrayal isn't just a plot twist, it's a consequence. Love isn't a backdrop, it's the detonator. By the time the curtain lifts on the full story, audiences will be asked to sit with discomfort, to believe the best and fear the worst, sometimes in the same breath. /N/N. Placing this next to Sandokan makes the transformation obvious. In Sandokan, Can wore myth like a second skin, the Malayan tiger, all action and silhouette, a fantasy charged with adventure. Here, in Butterfly Labyrinth, he wears the present day. Muted colors, fractured choices, the kind of masculinity that bleeds even when it refuses to. The appeal is different, less about spectacle and more about gravity. For the fans who love the sword and salt air, there is still plenty to hold on to: momentum, danger, a hero with something to lose. But the core is more fragile, and therefore more explosive. /N/N. From the set, the atmosphere is already palpable in every shared glimpse. The frames suggest a world you can touch. Corridors with fluorescent hum, city light slipping across windows, shadows that make you lean in to see what you're not sure you want to find. Can's way of moving, more economical than before, maps onto the role of a man who calculates his breath. And where Demet steps into the scene, an extra layer appears, something like electricity under silk. Crew whispers talk about the intensity they found when cameras rolled. The quiet afterward said even more. /N/N. Reactions have been immediate and loud. Instagram comments triple in minutes. Twitter threads devour themselves as people stitch theories out of fragments. Italian viewers are already asking for scheduling news, eager to watch Can on their screens again, while Turkish fans debate clues hidden in wardrobe choices and glances. The romance-suspense balance is the talk of the moment. Will the show sink its teeth into love or twist the knife of conspiracy harder? Most agree on one thing. They want to see Can pressed into corners he's never had to fight out of, and they want Demet to meet him there. /N/N. The media is feeding off the current like a power grid. Entertainment pages in Spain have begun chronicling the day-to-day pulse of the production, while outlets in Turkey and Italy step in to translate every new image into a narrative. Analysts compare screenshots to previous roles, columnists give space to the question everyone keeps asking in whispers. If Can and Demet anchor the emotional core of Butterfly Labyrinth, does the series simply succeed, or does it dominate? Early indicators suggest the latter /NAS for distribution. The whispers are encouraging. Butterfly Labyrinth is expected to land not only in Spain but across key European markets, with Italy a priority target. That puts Can in a familiar orbit and Demet right beside him, two stars with overlapping constellations drawing larger crowds. The momentum from Sandokan flows into this new chapter, but the flavor has changed. The aftertaste is darker and a little addictive and there's a reason fans are calling this a turning point. Everything about the project asks more of its leads, more restraint, more surrender, more truth. And in that crucible, the chemistry between Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir becomes more than gossip, it becomes a tool the series can wield. Whether the intimate moments caught on camera were part of a scene or the traces of a bond that can't be rehearsed, the effect is the same. People are watching, leaning in, waiting for confirmation from a kiss that might be scripted or a touch that looks too real to be planned and in the end, what matters most to the audience is the feeling they'll take away. And the first wave of set material promises a show that trades in feelings with ruthless precision. Love, when it appears, will feel risky. Betrayal, when it lands, will sting. And in between, Can's measured performance, a study in haunted focus, will deliver a kind of quiet that speaks volumes. With Demet folded into this world, even the negative space has meaning and so what now? We wait for trailers, for official word on Demet's role, for more glimpses that confirm what everyone suspects, that Butterfly Labyrinth could be the lightning strike that redraws the sky for both of them. Until then, those black sweats, that close frame, that shared breath on a Spanish afternoon will do what they're already doing: spark talk, fan art, feverish re-watches of a handful of seconds. And tell us what you think of Can Yaman's new turn in Butterfly Labyrinth, and how Demet Özdemir's presence is changing the temperature on set. Are those tender moments pure rehearsal, or are we seeing something that existed long before the cameras rolled? Drop your thoughts below. If you want every update the second it arrives, subscribe to Turkish Series Stars and turn on notifications. If you liked this deep dive, give it a like and share it with friends who live for this kind of drama. More details on Can, Demet, and Butterfly Labyrinth are coming right here. Happy New Year, and stay tuned, the next photo might answer everything, or it might make the labyrinth even harder to escape.